Hello again, my dudes. Welcome back to the channel. This is Kadima bringing you another DLC build video for Elden Ring. This time bringing you a very special one. This is by far the loudest build in the history of Elden Ring. Let's take a look at the build, shall we? We are using Azur's Glintstone Staff and the Meteorite Staff. Although we are not really casting anything from the Meteorite Staff, it's just there for the damage bonus. But with Azur's Glintstone Staff, we're going to be casting gravitational spells. That's it. And I don't know if you have tried these spells yourself, but if you have, they all have a thing in common. They are very loud, and they do cause a lot of damage. But especially they are very, very loud. And that's what's going to happen here. So the reason why we are using Azur's Glintstone Staff, it's because if you do read the description, it reduces casting time of all sorceries, but consumes additional FP, which is not really a problem here. You will have enough FP to cast everything you want, and you can always recharge yourself with a flask, but the extra casting speed is very important for this build, because we don't even have a melee weapon at all, as you can see. The Meteorite Staff, on the other hand, is just so it boosts high sorcery scaling and gravitation sorceries as well. So that's the reason why it's on the offhand. Although if you two-hand the gravitational staff, it's just the same thing. You don't really have to have one on each hand. For the armor, we're using the Veteran's Helm, Radahn's Lion Armor, Gauntlets of Solitude, and Crucible Greaves. No specific reason, it's just the things I could have come with in my inventory to have the highest possible defense while still having a nice poise and being at medium load. For the talismans, Radagon's Icon shortens spellcasting time, it's a must-have. Graven Mass Talisman for greatly raising potency of sorceries. Godfrey Icon because most of the spells we're using can be charged, and that means additional damage. And the Earth Tree's Favor just so we have a little bit more HP, stamina, and equip load. For consumables, I suggest having the boiled crab because we are very squishy, we're going to take a bit of damage, and it's nice to have that little bit of extra defenses. For the flask, no shadow of a doubt, I recommend going with Magic Shrouding Crack Tier, temporarily boosts magic attacks, and the Blood-Sucking Crack Tier, which temporarily increases attack power while slowly draining HP. So basically you just want to cast spells as soon and as quickly as possible to kill everything in your way quickly. Now, for the spells we are using, as you can see on the bottom of the screen, we got the Gravitational Missile, we got Blades of Stone, we got Collapsing Stars, we got Fleeting Microcosm, and the Miriam's Vanishing, just so we can teleport around. Especially in the arena, it's a useful spell to have because you can actually kind of wait for your opponent to attack, and if you cast Miriam's Vanishing just at the right time, they will be exposed, so you can then quickly swap to the Gravitational Missile and cast it straight away for a nice bit of damage. The thing about the Gravitational Missile is that if you cast it forward, the spell stays there and it does its thing, and then it finally explodes. It travels forward slightly, not at a great speed, but if you cast it straight onto the floor, it explodes immediately. And you still can charge it fully and cast it onto the floor. It still explodes immediately. The Blades of Stone, if you just cast it quickly, it summons one group of spikes. If you fully charge it, it summons 1, 2, 3 groups of spikes. So that's equally useful. The Collapsing Stars, it's useful for the sense that it does cause nice damage, and if you cast it just right, you can actually pull people into the Gravitational Missile. If you cast it from behind the missile, sometimes it will pull people to the missile and cause extra damage. The Fleeting Microcosm, it's a nice spell to have. It just casts that and it stays there for 2 explosions. Again, the gravitational pull with the Collapsing Stars is useful in this instant, and the Vanishing, it just kind of teleports you from place to place. Not a massive teleport, you don't go miles away from where you were initially, but it's a nice alternative to dodging. And that's pretty much the build. I want to credit the person that I ran into in the arena who was using a similar build. I don't know the person, of course, he was just a random individual. But I kind of saw him using a similar build and he was the inspiration for it. So whoever you are, sir, thank you for the idea. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It does help us grow. And for my regular viewers, thank you for the continuous support. As per usual, I'm gonna give you the examples of how this works in PvE and PvP. But first, let's take a look at the stats. Level 151, Vigor at 60, Mind at 25, Endurance is 27, Strength at 14, Dexterity 13. My character comes with those numbers, I can't change that. Intelligence at 70, it's not the max, but it's more than enough for this build. And Faith at 14, just so you can have that little bit of extra faith. Although the sorceries don't really need that. That was already there. But that's pretty much it. Not a lot more to say. Enough talking. Let's go for the example. So as per usual, starting with the Black Knight, I want you to guys take notice that my runes are actually there on the next to the cliff. I died because I dodge rolled back and I fell off the cliff. But I came back. Here we go. Flask has been consumed. We're just gonna spell this guy to death. Try to get as much damage per cast as possible. The Mimic is here to make it even more stupid. Unfortunately, he doesn't really always cast the right thing. But even so, we are just gonna detonate this guy. I take some damage. That's fine. In the meantime, the Mimic casts the gravitational spell as well. I cast it too. I try to make it explode straight away just so I can keep on casting. But the Mimic is actually helping quite a lot, and we finish the job together. Now for the Blood Fiend, Chief, as per usual, get that Mimic going. I was actually being hit by the guys casting spells on the other side of the fog. I didn't really stay away to a safe distance. In any case, here we go. Get that little boost to the physical defenses, just so we don't take as much damage. After all, we are going to be exposed with a flask consuming some of our HP per second. We have now consumed the flask. We are ready to start casting. Here we go. Gravitational spells right to the face. That one actually stayed, which is not too bad because it is causing the damage. The Mimic is using the same. We are just spamming stuff right at his face. There's just a melting. But I want you guys to take notice how loud everything is. This build will destroy not only your enemies, but your ears as well. But now for the PvP, I want you guys to take notice how quickly people die if they try to engage in close quarters combat. Of course, there are limitations to this build. You will be exposed to weapons like the Pata, for example. But take a look at that nice little damage, nearly 1000 damage just for that little spell. And then the gravitational pull finishes the job, and the missile was there just to confirm the kill. But everything with this build revolves around being extremely noisy. There you go, there's the spamming of the missile. Get some blades of stone just to keep this guy away. Didn't work so well. Get some collapsed stars. He's dodging everything, which is great, but then that was not a good idea because you will be exposed. I actually fully charged that one. I was hoping to bring him close to me, or at least to disguise the blades, and I did manage to disguise the blades, and that's the strategy with a missile. You want to try to camouflage the blades behind the missile. You want to cast it from behind the missile. He's actually dodging quite well, which is unusual, but this is when the vanishing comes in handy. Did you notice how I actually managed to get some space between me and him just by one simple cast of the vanishing? But then the collapsed stars are doing the job, getting some chip damage going. I managed to dodge, and then I finished the job with another gravitational missile, while everything just keeps on exploding. I actually felt sorry for the next one. Take a look at how quick this fight is going to be. When everything connects perfectly, the fights are quite quick. There goes the gravitational pull, fully charged, 1194 damage. And then another one with the blades, fully charged, missed, but then the gravitational pull works as the trap for another gravitational missile to finish the job. Next guy, another very quick fight, despite the fact that he's using a nice piece of armor, so his defenses are not so bad. There goes the first gravitational missile. The collapsed stars are going to follow the blades. As you can see, I'm doing it from behind the missile, so he can't really tell what's about to come. And then another set of explosions, trying to get some more damage done, and then those two combined for more than 1000 damage. Now this was the quickest fight of them all. This guy is going to attack straight to the face, gravitational missile. The actual range of the spell is insane, and then everything just connects perfectly, and it's a nice GG. Next guy, this one was actually a long fight as well. He managed to dodge a few things, but he's also casting spells with the Mesmer's Flame. But his flame does a little bit of damage, while my gravitational stuff does a lot of damage. Did you see how I managed to escape that spell with the gravitational, with the invisibility teleport? Beautiful. And then the gravitational pull does around 800 damage. I managed to escape again with the vanishing. Recharge, and then boom, I don't mind the trade. Gravitational missile to the face, I'm always happy with that. Now, another kind of long fight. You have to keep in mind that this build also has a little bit of a problem. Although we are using a sorcerer or mage kind of build, if the opponents decide not to engage at all and just run around in circles and waste time, your fights are going to last way longer than they needed to. But you have to understand their position. They know that the gravitational missile is a mean machine and a loud machine of damage, so they are going to try to stay away. Actually, at this stage, I was also trying to use the Meteorite of Astel, but I found that it was pretty useless. It didn't really hit anyone ever, so I ended up getting rid of it completely. Here goes another gravitational missile to the face. I finished the job. GG. Now, this guy, he actually managed to put up a little bit of a fight as well. He's again keeping his distance. I don't blame him. It's the clever thing to do. I try to meteorite, but as you can see, the casting is just stupid. Most times he just falls around instead of trying to chase the opponent. I managed to do a little bit of gravitational pull, but then did you see the meteorites? They don't even get close to him. They don't follow him. It's just a bit of a useless spell, even for this build. The gravitational pull, it's a nice one. It does about 700 to 750 damage. I tried again the meteorite, but it wasn't working. So this was actually one of the fights that led me to give up on it. But then the gravitational pull is going to be there doing the job. Trying to pull him towards, it's not going so well, but then that one is behind him, is going to finish him off. GG. Now, next fight, again against a Holy Caster, which is fine. There goes the first missile, nearly 1000 damage. The gravitational pull, just cheap damage. Another missile, another chunk of damage. Then another gravitational pull, another missile, trying to get him to walk to it, which he does, but the spell is not hitting him until it does. GG. Now, next fight. This guy is actually doing the right thing. This is going to be our pretty much #1 weakness, is anyone who's using fist weapons or quick weapons. It's hard to cast, but if you can manage to trade like I just did, you're gonna do about 1000 damage per cast. He's being clever. He's trying to prevent me from doing what I have to do, but then gravitational meteorite was a mistake. I didn't want to cast that one. The missile was what I wanted. And then he walks to the gravitational pull. I managed to finish the job again with another missile right to the feet, and it spams on his face for the explosion. GG. Again, this is going to be a kind of a quick one. This guy is using the circlets, which I don't really fancy. I try to use them, but I find them to have very limited range, especially compared to weapons like the backhand. But take a look at this combo. The actual pull next to the missile nearly actually resulted in a lot of damage, but then that missile does 1100 damage because it was fully charged. He casts that, but then the gravitational pull with the collapsing stars finishes the job. Another one. This guy was actually being too eager to get some damage going, which I don't blame. But then he makes the mistake of walking to that nearly fully charged missile. Then he tried to teabag me, which was not a great idea, because you see that missile behind him? That's your GG. And this is going to be the last one, my dudes. Again, this is a very nice build. I want you to take notice how I'm going to win this fight. I'm going to actually vanish and then cast the missile for the win. It was a very good win. I hope you guys like and enjoyed the build video. If you do, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't just yet, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Give this one a try. I actually recommend this build. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio! Missile. Boom!